G'day there ladies and gents, Connor here again, still on holidays, and we're back with some more stories from Reddit. As always, if you enjoy these videos, be sure to hit like and subscribe and all that stuff, and let's get straight to the stories. Alrighty folks, we're on relationship advice. This one was written by user ApprehensivBus128, and it's titled, "My boyfriend's eyes scare the crap out of me. I'm not sure what to do from here. Posting on my spam because my man's on Reddit. My boyfriend and I have been together for 6 months, but have known and been friends with each other since we were 17 and 18. I mention this because it's relevant, but he has never ever been abusive or manipulative either verbally, physically or emotionally. Never ever a hint of any of that nonsense. We're both very level-headed people, so no crazy fights with screaming or anything like that, as we view that as disrespectful. There are some disagreements and stresses we have, as we're long distance and pursuing different paths in life at the moment, but we have a very healthy relationship. Now, here's the main issue, and it's kind of insane sounding, but I don't know. A couple of months ago, we were having a civil disagreement about something, and he was glancing at me from the corner of his eye and speaking to me, and the look in his eyes genuinely scared the crap out of me. And it's not about the eye color or anything like that. It's the look. You know how you hear about the soulless eyes that serial killers have? Like, no joke, that was 100% there. And I haven't ever gotten that something is wrong, you need to run feeling before with anyone else. It obviously wasn't anything intentional on his part, and he was speaking very calmly, but I immediately stopped disagreeing and just accepted whatever he was saying because I was so unnerved. I didn't mention anything to him and just ignored it, but the next time we disagreed about something, the look was back, and again I got so genuinely frightened I just agreed with whatever he was saying. This doesn't happen every time we disagree or argue, but it happens enough to make me question whether I'm safe with him. I know a lot of people say this on this app, but he's actually an amazing partner to me and I'm so very happy with him. I'm just looking for advice on what to do next, and how seriously I should consider this feeling." This is strange, and honestly, in my opinion, the eyes don't lie. Let's go to the comments. That is your primitive brain recognizing a threat. It can be wrong, but you definitely should not just dismiss it. Listen to your gut. When I was teaching, I got that feeling about a new student. He hadn't done anything to me, wasn't even in my class, but he looked at me once in the hallway and he had dead eyes, like his humanity or soul wasn't there, empty. I was so freaked out, chills down my spine, but told myself I was overreacting. Other teachers loved this kid, so I chalked it up to me being tired or something. No, this fricker lit a girl on fire a week later, poured something on her and lit her on fire. She didn't know him. He said he saw her in class and decided he wanted to watch her burn. I took a self-defense class once taught by a police officer. He said, "If a guy ever gives you a look like this," and demonstrated, "he is dangerous and you need to stay away from him." I can't describe the expression he had, but he's a trained cop and believed that certain expressions showed a man is dangerous, so trust your instincts. Many people just get a subconscious feeling about someone else and just feel that person is dangerous without knowing why. It's their subconscious warning them based on subtle clues their conscious mind is not aware of. You are in tune enough with your subconscious that you actually know why he frightens you. Listen to your subconscious. If you are right, you might save your own life. If you're wrong, well, there are plenty of other guys out there who won't terrify you during arguments, so win-win. I wouldn't risk staying with him personally. His look would be a deal breaker. Quote, "It obviously wasn't anything intentional on his part and he was speaking very calmly, but I immediately stopped disagreeing and just accepted whatever he was saying because I was so unnerved. I didn't mention anything to him and just ignored it, but the next time we disagreed about something, the look was back again, and I got so genuinely frightened I just agreed with whatever he was saying. He knows what he's doing. He noticed you just accepted whatever he said, so he did it again the next argument. If victims regret anything, they regret not listening to their gut." The comments are pretty unanimous. I'm interested to see what OP does here. On to an update, more than 8 months later. For context, I made a post in the beginning of the year asking for advice because my boyfriend would get this weird hollow look in his eyes whenever we would argue. If you're curious, look up false killer whale stares, and that's the best comparison I can make. Regardless, the post got a lot more attention than I was expecting. A fairly popular YouTuber even reacted to it. That was wild. I was super overwhelmed with all the comments and DMs telling me different things, so I chose to just forget I ever made the post in the first place and just move on. After all, my boyfriend and I were in a totally super healthy relationship, right? Right? It's so funny looking back at my original post because I insisted so hard that we had a healthy relationship when really something was always off in hindsight. But since there was no textbook abuse, I just ignored it in the beginning. But after I made that post, I started being more critical of the way he treated me and noticing things that I hadn't before. Now, I'm not sure if that new awareness is what caused more arguments to start happening, or if it was because we stopped being long distance and started to live together, but we started fighting daily. Turns out he was pretty controlling from the beginning, discreetly making me feel bad about hanging out with friends and family instead of him, insisting I not go out for safety reasons. After a while, this turned into him getting angry if I gave literally anyone else attention, even my brothers. He would get mad if I didn't approve plans, either with friends or family, with him ahead of time, but I wouldn't have to approve his plans. Always checking my phone, but he'd get mad and snatch his phone if I ever looked through his. You get the picture. All the while, he was free to have his own social life and do whatever he wanted, and if I ever complained about any of it, he'd call me dramatic. There were so many other rules that I had to live by, or else I'd get ghosted. I was a pretty calm person before getting into this relationship, but I would often find myself exploding out of frustration of being isolated, not heard, and humiliated. For example, once I was crying because we were arguing for so long, and I just wanted to go to sleep, but he wouldn't let me, and he started laughing and imitating my crying face. I genuinely exploded and started yelling, and he didn't apologize, but rather said that he was just trying to lighten the mood. I don't know why I believed it, but I felt so bad for yelling that I spent the next 2 days pacifying him so he could forgive me. You might be asking, OP, he was an immature control freak. Why didn't you dump him? Good question. 1. For the longest time, I genuinely felt like the bad guy in our arguments because he would never yell, but I would. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. There were definitely mistakes I made, and I should have handled myself better. But in our arguments, they would last hours because he would drag them on by connecting every mistake to something bigger. If I let my phone die while on call with him, that meant I didn't love or respect or care about him. I would get overwhelmed and ask for a break or to go to sleep, and he would refuse and continue on and drop in hurtful comments and jokes, until finally I would snap. And the second I snapped and yelled, I became the villain in my mind, and I'd feel terrible. 2. There were many moments I wanted to leave, but I felt like I couldn't leave because of the mental games he'd play. He had this thing where he'd love to punish me and give me consequences for my bad behavior. These consequences could be 3 days without speaking, it could be me having to cancel a hangout I was looking forward to, etc. But after any consequence, he would follow it up with a stubborn showering of what felt like genuine affection, love and comfort. I would be angry and push him away, and he'd persist until I wasn't angry anymore. The way he'd act after I'd been isolated made me feel like nobody's ever loved or will love me like that. He admitted to me once that he'd do similar things to his dog when he was a kid. He'd beat and pinch his pets growing up just so that when they would cry or yelp, he could hug and kiss them. Before we started dating, he told me he liked to comfort people. I didn't think that meant he would take it upon himself to provide both the suffering and then the subsequent comfort. Is that not insane? I can't make this crap up. The dude was a nut. And what's even more mind-boggling is that everyone thinks he's the sweetest, most respectful guy out there. Hell, I was good friends with him before we dated, and I thought he was the best thing since sliced bread. Whenever I finally had the balls to break up with him, our mutual friends were shocked to find out that I ended it because he's just the nicest guy, and, oh, OP, he was husband material. Ugh. Sorry for the rambling. Even though we broke up 2 months ago now, it's honestly still pretty confusing to get my mind around. Anyway, we're done now, and I'm never planning on speaking to him again. I definitely wasted a lot of time with him, but oh well. Better than wasting a lifetime, I guess. Moral of the story, listen to your gut, or at least some type of common sense. Wow, there you go, trust your gut. Some final comments. Wow, very textbook cycle of abuse stuff. I'm so sorry you've experienced this. The loving stuff he did was what's called love bombing and is a tactic abusers use to keep their victims dependent on them. The cycle is tension to incident to reconciliation to calm, and that just repeats over and over. You'd have the tension build up of trying to follow his rules but still want to live your life, The incident of a blow-up when things got to too much of a head, the reconciliation where he would love-bomb you back to not being mad at him, and the calm period before he would start to ramp up things to get back to the tension stage. Very proud of you for leaving this guy. It can be really hard to leave an abuser, and often takes people several tries where they end up going back before ever getting out for good. Edit to add, the needling until you blow up, and then he makes it look like you're the crazy one, is a super common abuse tactic too. Basically, they'll poke and prod and say increasingly horrible and enraging things, but since they're sociopathic, they don't feel things the same way, so they stay calm for all of it. Finally, the victim will lash out, and then suddenly it's all about how irrational and insane and emotional you are. It's how they manage to keep public opinion on their side too. Now he gets to say you're the ex who has always been screaming when he stayed calm. If things had ever gotten to the point of a police call, you'd look like the unstable one, and him just the calm, perplexed, innocent boyfriend. Opie replies, "Thank you so much. This was very validating." I've read that stare comes up in narcissists. If you haven't already, read up on narcissistic abuse. He sounds like a covert narcissist. Everyone loves them, but they're abusive and controlling behind the mask of generosity and performative kindness. Rather than beating yourself up about spending so long with this piece of crap, consider this. You have experienced and learnt something profoundly useful that will serve you well for the rest of your life. You are young, and from now on you will always be alert to this horrible kind of control and help yourself and others avoid it. I have only just experienced controlling narcissistic abuse at the ripe old age of 40 from an in-law, and now I'm highly tuned into that behaviour in others. I wouldn't say I see it all the time, but when I do, I really do. In colleagues, the partners of friends, people from my past. It's such a gift to be able to see it clearly. She replies, "Thank you, this has actually helped shift my perspective a little bit. Sorry to hear about your recent experience with the narcissist." "I'm so glad you're safe. Guy sounds like a nutter. The way he abused his pets and then you the same way is sick. I'm intrigued by this idea of recognizing the stare and how this might be an evolutionary trait of women given how long men have been brutalizing them. Quite sad and disturbing if true, yet something to ponder. Anyway, this random internet stranger is proud of you." He wasn't just nuts, he was straight up abusive. I'm proud of you for getting out. That's really hard. I hope you have friends you can be honest about it with, and that they're being very supportive now. Remember that healing isn't linear, but it will get easier. You are awesome, and you deserve so much better. She replies, "Thank you for the kind words. I have great, well-meaning friends, but I'm honestly trying to put as much distance from myself and that situation as possible. As terrible as it was at times, I really did care so much about him, and he was my first love. Talking about it online is hard enough, but hopefully one day I can share my experience with people in my life." Good on you. That creepy stare definitely was your gut picking up on something your brain hadn't caught up to yet. It's called thin slicing. Our subconscious reads subtle clues in people, like body language, tone, or even a stare, and flags danger before we can explain why. Turns out your instincts were dead on. The stare matched the controlling, manipulative behavior. Be glad you dodged that whale before it dragged you under. Opie says, "I'm so glad. This whole experience has definitely made me start thinking twice about gut feelings in our subconscious. Although in my case, I'm not sure how much of it was a supernatural gut feeling, like something is off and I don't know why, or just common sense pattern recognition that the average person would be able to identify. Yeah, probably a bit of column A, bit of column B. Who knows? What are your thoughts, guys? Maybe you got a similar story you'd like to share. Let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, that's it for that story. We're going to leave it there and move on to the next one. Okay, we're now on relationships. This one was written by a throwaway account, and it's titled, "I asked my girlfriend's best friend on vacation with me when my girlfriend cancelled." My girlfriend and I have been together for 3 years now. She has a best friend who is always around, and we've become friends over that time. My girlfriend and I had planned a vacation in August. It's a month-long trip and something we've been planning for years. We both get very good vacation time, so it wasn't a problem. Something came up with her work, and now she cannot go. My girlfriend's best friend is between work right now, and I know she's always wanted to go on a similar trip. I asked her to go, and she said she'd love to. She needs cheering up, as she's been very down about her job loss and job hunt. I hadn't mentioned the plan to my girlfriend beforehand, and when she found out, she was ticked. She doesn't want me to go on the trip with her best friend. She thought I would take one of my best friends or my brothers, but most of them are working and wouldn't have been able to go even if I asked. She says she can't support the two of us taking her dream vacation without her, and it's weird that the two of us are planning to vacation alone together. She's barely speaking to me now. I know that it was hard for my girlfriend to miss this, but it wasn't my fault, and I needed someone else to go with. I know I should have discussed it with her beforehand, but I was so upset about trying to find someone to go with, I didn't want to waste any time asking her friend. Whoa, talk about bad optics. I feel like this guy's a little bit out of touch here. Regardless of whether you think it's okay or not, and you think you're completely innocent, this doesn't look good on paper, and most people aren't going to be okay with it. Let's go to the comments. This is very weird. You messed up big time, buddy. This is wholly something you should have discussed with her ahead of time. How would you feel if she were going on a month-long trip with another dude? I get that you are friends with her friend. However, there are certain standards and boundaries one must abide by. You just totally overlooked that. OP says, I know I should have discussed it with her. I was excited when her best friend started saying how she wanted to do that trip too, so I asked her, and I thought because it was her best friend she'd be okay with it. When told to scrap the trip, OP says, it's 4 weeks of vacation time I already got off. I would rather go alone than scrap it altogether. I'll talk to her again about it. When told not to bring the friend, he says, I feel bad uninviting her now and I would prefer to go with someone. Maybe she'll back out since I'm sure the girlfriend already talked to her or will talk to her. She's already struggling right now because she's unemployed. I feel bad for getting her hopes up. So, you asked the friend before asking your girlfriend if this would be okay. Life pro tip, don't make big decisions without consulting your partner, and don't take other women on romantic holidays, however platonic your friendship with them may be. Moving forward, nope, I got nothing. Let's hope the friend is into you because you've probably lost your girlfriend here. Opie says, I thought it would be okay because it was her best friend. No, she's still female. How would you feel if your girlfriend went on this trip alone with one of your best friends? You'd feel doubly betrayed. You also not only did not ask her how she would feel about it before you invited the friend, you then didn't even tell her after the fact. So of course she thinks there's something shady going on. I'm surprised she hasn't dumped you. This is incredibly inconsiderate. A month alone with another woman on a dream vacation. Let that sentence really sink in. She may be a friend of yours, and she may be your partner's best friend, but a month is a long time to run off with someone. Also, I know that maybe you don't plan on anything happening, but she needs cheering up, and always wanted a trip like this just screams hot sex to me. This is going to be a bonding experience. Most would be uncomfortable with it. I don't care how certain you are that this would be platonic and innocuous. This is just a little too much right here. The fact that you didn't check with your girlfriend before asking might look suspect to her. Opie makes an edit saying, I'll be meeting with the best friend tonight to apologize for everything, but that it isn't appropriate for her to come and I'll be going alone. I'll let you all know how it goes. Yeah, correct decision, but it might be too little too late, I think. Opie updates the next day. I met with my girlfriend's best friend. I told her that the trip made my girlfriend uncomfortable and I could understand why. I said that it would be better if I went alone and I apologized for inviting her and disappointing her. She got really upset and started going off about how she screwed up her friendships with my girlfriend and me like she screws up everything. How she's terrible at her job and that's why she was fired. How she's going nowhere in life. How she'll end up alone. She told me that sometimes it's hard to speak to my girlfriend since she's always so positive and nice about everything, but she also has a very good life, good job, nice boyfriend, and she was jealous of that. She admitted she was looking forward to this trip as a recharge for her, but agreed not to come. She said I was a good boyfriend and hoped she could find someone like me soon. I disagree with this completely, but oh well. We talked for a while and I just got back. Some final comments. Dear God, no. You blamed your girlfriend's feelings instead of admitting it was simply inappropriate and you should never have asked? You have probably irreparably damaged your girlfriend's friendship with her best friend. Congratulations. P.S. It's also obvious from this girl's response how incredibly inappropriate this trip would have been. From her reaction, there is a 90% chance she would have made a move on you during the holiday. You used your girlfriend as the scapegoat? That was unfair and cowardly. Why do you care so much about the friend's feelings? I'm not saying to be horrible to her, but your girlfriend is the priority. The fact that going on the trip with anyone rather than going alone makes your girlfriend sound disposable. Wasn't it supposed to be something special for the two of you? I also agree with the other comments regarding the appropriateness of the friend accepting. My best friend is male. We've been friends for 7 years. I have been in relationships and been single during our friendship. At no point would I ever go on holiday alone with him. He would never ask either. Not because something would happen, it wouldn't. However, it would feel disrespectful to his partner and mine, and frankly I would find it a little weird. Holidays are usually quite romantic and he's like my brother. I'll just make it clear, she became my good friend too. They are now the parents of my goddaughters. This isn't about lack of trust, it's about respecting boundaries. It doesn't really seem like you understand why what you did hurt your girlfriend. It seems like you're just agreeing to follow the majority. And that's all we got for that story, guys. Yeah, I tend to agree with those final comments there. What about you? Would this be a deal breaker for you? Even if the partner later agreed that going with the friend wouldn't be appropriate? Let me know in the comments. Otherwise, that's it from me today. Hope you guys enjoyed those stories. Thanks for making it to the end, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a good day. Cheers.